9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin.
In the city of Philly, where the birds take flight, Eagle swag on the rise each and every night. Tone and Markus got the scoop ready to ignite. From the lanes of South Street to the Broad Street lights, dashing like a running back, hitting every play. Blind guys in the zone, never led astray. Talking touchdowns, talking game day. Huddle around the mic, hear what they gotta say. I like an eagle soaring in the sky. Tone and Markus always standing by, bringing their heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, hear the battle cry. Fly like an eagle soaring in the sky. Tone and Markus always standing by, bringing their heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, hear the battle cry.
And we're back, brother.
Yes,
What's
sir.
going on, Tone?
What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? Y'all know the vibes. Y'all know the energy. Y'all tuned into our Eagles off-season show featuring Coach Markus from Pro Fan Talk and also
Yes,
myself,
sir. Yes, sir.
Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports. Where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to church to the game. You know the vibes. Make sure y'all smash that like button. Make sure you guys are locked in on the content. You know what I mean? I've been chilling this week, Markus. I took a little bit of a week off, I guess, so to speak. You know, I haven't gone live since you and I went live last week, man.
Rest is a part of training.
Yeah. Sometimes, what is it? Distance makes the heart grow fonder. Is that how it goes?
Absence. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And what's the other one? The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. You know what I'm saying? Man, but I missed y'all. I appreciate y'all, man. You know, sometimes you gotta unplug a little bit. You know,
absolutely, man.
Had to get a lot of stuff done last week. But we're here, man, and I'm excited. How are you? I feel like I haven't seen you in a while.
Man. I'm good, man. Good, man. It was my birthday yesterday. 55 trips around the sun.
Old ass.
Me and my twin sis. So happy birthday to my twin sister Melanie.
Happy birthday
down in Atlanta.
Twin.
Yeah. So we wife took me out to dinner, had a bunch of friends and family. We had a good time, man. I have discovered the greatness of bundt cakes.
Where have you been, bro? You know what's so funny? I'm with you on that because I had no idea.
Nothing bundt cakes.
They are
fire,
beyond fire. It should be illegal for something to be. See, Markus, I have an addictive personality a little bit. So when I find stuff that I like, I kind of drill it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they're good though, bro. Which flavors did you guys get?
We bought a bunch of them and gave them out to all of the guests at the dinner last night, rather than buying one big birthday cake.
Mm-hmm.
I'm partial to red velvet is my favorite.
Yes, it is.
And carrot
red
cake.
Velvet.
Yeah, red velvet and carrot cake, and then we got some vanilla cakes. But I mean, there's no wrong answers. So hey, nothing but cakes. I mean, we're not sponsored, but you know, I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
No, for real, bro. They're
your boys.
They're so good,
good, man. And my granddaughter was telling me about it, and we had talked about it a couple times, and then finally we were going by we passed by the restaurant. Let's go in and see what it's about. We walked out of there with 4 cakes, and then the next time we walked out with like 30. So, yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff. So, can't wait to go back. Matter of fact, I got 2 more in the kitchen right now. I'm gonna probably polish off today. So,
dog, they're so good. I mean, they just melt, dog.
They are fire, man.
And,
they are fire.
There's one not too far from my house at all. Like, I mean, I'm talking less than 10 minutes.
That's one of them things you got to be careful because you make yourself sick eating them things.
Yeah, that and crumble cookie. They're both. They're
crumble
both
cookie. The cookies. I'm past the cookie phase because I've had a couple of cookies and I did just that. Ate too much, and you know, because it's some of them things, man. It's hard to get through one. and your eyes bigger than your stomach, and you end up paying for that. I'm like, I can't do that no more.
Dog, see, I'm not a candy guy, but I'm a baked goods kind of guy.
Yeah,
I love like breads and cakes and cookies and all that kind of stuff. Brownies.
yeah,
I'm a baked goods kind of guy, man.
yeah,
You know,
man. Yeah, cute them bun cakes ain't no joke, bro.
yeah, man. And when I was in college, we would definitely experiment, with our baking activities. We'll leave it at that. But man, I love baked goods, bro. But man, shout out to you. Happy belated birthday to you,
Appreciate it,
TSS
appreciate
man.
it.
That's dope, man. That's dope. Double nickel, your Brandon Graham year.
Yes, sir.
So I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Do you feel as old as you are?
No,
That's a blessing.
no, I do
That is a
not.
that is a blessing.
I don't even front about that because, and everybody will go through this. You'll go through this. Um, the times when you through your day to day, when you go back home,
Mm,
you'll interact with people and you'll see people, and you look 5, 10 years younger than they do, and then you know what some of the stuff that they've experienced and been through, and it's like, hey, I've been blessed. I ain't been through that. I ain't had to go through that. For the most part, I've taken care of myself. I don't drink. I don't smoke. Um, so I haven't really had. I've seen those things. I've been to high school reunions,
yeah.
and you see some of your friends, you're like, oof, what happened?
Yeah, I've
So
seen. Listen, I ain't got to go to the reunion. I just got, put on,
yeah,
click the Facebook, and I can see it right there.
yeah. And
Some people,
sometimes nothing happened. Sometimes it just is too much drink or too much smoke or something like that. But like I said, man, my father used to say this all the time. He used to say, uh, "There's only one proven way to keep from getting old, and that is to die young. And I will take my wrinkles."
for
So uh,
sure, for
I
sure, man.
accept that moniker and keep it moving, man. Try to keep moving. I've been on the golf thing. Got my clubs today from the flea market. 3 clubs for $35. 3 more drivers I can smash at the driving range. I'm enjoying doing that. That's been a workout for me. So long as you stay busy, man, keep moving and stay busy.
That's fly, man. Speaking of keep it moving, and staying busy, Nakobe Dean is definitely making sure that he stays busy,
He in the lab, man.
and he's in the lab and he's moving. And um, I'm sure a lot of you guys saw this. Nakobe Dean, I think he posted it or whoever posted it. A video was circulating. Let's just say that
Yeah.
a video was circulating right now. Nakobe Dean, putting in some work,
Uh,
in the gym, rehabbing, getting some work done. You can see him. Really putting that weight up. You feel what I'm saying? And it's great to see. It's great to see. I tweeted it, I retweeted it, and I was like, it's fantastic to see Nakobe active, lifting heavy, moving with confidence,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, but then I also followed that up by saying the next step is to see that brother get on the football field, plant that foot, and break on the
Yeah.
ball. That's the real test.
Side to side.
Side to side, that's the real
Side to
test.
side.
Because
Side to side is what's key, man, because we always got the example of Robert Griffin III. Straight line, north and south. He was great. Went out there early. I'll never forget that game. I think it was a Monday night game.
mm,
I don't even think he played, but I think he got out there, warmed up, felt the exhilaration of the crowd, and he went down there and sprinted about 50 yards into the end zone, and the place went nuts. And then a couple weeks later, he tore his knee again because he wasn't ready. He wasn't ready. So I sent Nakobe a text yesterday. I was just like, see you getting the work done, bro. I was like, keep grinding and growing. He responded, man. So uh he's a smart dude, man. So he knows what he needs to do. He knows what not to do. And I think he'll come back strong. So um
yeah, it's always the
this
goal,
is
right?
this can be kind of misleading because that's just
And
strength. But to
that's
your point, you don't. I haven't seen side to side. I haven't seen takeoffs. I haven't seen
yeah,
running backwards, rotating your hips. Those are the things that you need to see. So, but it's still encouraging to see him back in the weight room, getting up on one foot and doing what he got to do.
No, you said something that I think is like maybe the crux of this conversation we're about to have. As happy as we are to see this, right? And I'm one of them. I'm happy to see it. It's fantastic, right? I'm as fantastic as it is to see that. I have to also acknowledge that that isn't necessarily a football movement, right?
Yeah,
That's strength, that's conditioning. That's just
absolutely.
that's stability, right? Working on things like that. But then, like we said, planting your feet, cutting sideline to sideline, breaking on the ball, dropping back, so on and so forth. All those very football specific movements. That's going to be the true test to see where he is, right?
Yeah,
And unfortunately, his injury was at his lower extremities. Whereas though Jahai Campbell's injury was his shoulder, right? So um, it's interesting how we got to this Nakobe Dean video, and obviously it's much more simple than the Jahai Campbell video we got. Jahai Campbell was doing all kinds of sprints, sideline, all different kind of footwork drills, and
yeah,
so on and so forth. So it's interesting to see both of these players progressing throughout the offseason, throughout their rehab process, so to speak, right? I think it's safe to say that Jahai Campbell is ahead of Nakobe Dean
absolutely,
from a recovery standpoint.
absolutely.
Jahai Campbell was his was more of a cleanup because of the shoulder that they discovered it, I think, during the combine, right? Or during his
Yeah,
pro day. I can't remember exactly when they discovered it, and he got the surgery right away and didn't play around with it. Um, Nakobe's obviously the injury happened in the wild card round, torn patella, right? So
yeah,
yeah, still a long road ahead for Nakobe for sure, but it's really encouraging to see this. I'm happy to see it, and
absolutely.
and it made
From
me
his,
think about. I'm sorry, go
from
ahead.
his injury to this is impressive because I
Yeah.
don't think I people know what it was,
Uh-huh.
but to see it, and if you would have saw his knee, and if anybody's ever seen a torn knee or a dislocated patella, or if you've ever seen something like that, it ain't pretty when your kneecap is on the wrong side of your leg.
Mm.
So, um,
I couldn't even imagine. I mean, like these dudes are warriors, man. Like I think football players are like our modern day gladiators.
yeah,
You know what I
man,
mean?
for
I
sure.
I watch a lot of movies, all that kind of stuff. I'm into like the sci-fi. I'm into the medieval, the all that kind of stuff, man. One of my favorite movies is The King with Timothy Chalamet. That's a real good movie. If you guys ever check
Yeah,
that out, or obviously Gladiator 1, Gladiator 2. Those are fun movies to watch. Um, it's but the point is these guys make a lot of sacrifices physically, mentally, um,
absolutely.
familially, right?
Yeah,
If that's even a word. But again, it makes me think about this linebacker position and try to put myself into the mindset of these guys, right? We would never really know what these guys are feeling, what they're thinking, right? We're just spectators, we're flies on the wall, we're just people who really enjoy the game. Um, you played the game, of course, but walk me through the mindset. And I don't know if you've experienced any injuries throughout your career, whatever it may be. Please, like, let me
nothing.
share
I,
that if you can. But like, share what goes on through the mind of a player as they're going through this rehab process, especially knowing that you have someone at your position who's younger,
yeah,
bigger, probably faster, definitely here to take your job, depending on how you look at it. How do you navigate that? How do you try to stay on track in your rehab and your recovery, while still trying to stay sharp and keep this young spry brother at bay that is Jahai Campbell?
it's all mental. A lot of well, not all mental, but I would say 90% of it is mental.
Mm,
Because you're gonna go through the rehab and your body is going to respond.
yeah.
I was lucky enough in my football career through high school, college, and in the pros, never broke anything, never tore anything,
Mm,
nothing like that. The worst I ever had was me being a running back. Obviously, I had high ankle sprains and had a real bad shoulder bone bruise my sophomore year in college. So, um, but like I said, never broke anything. But the mindset is still the same. I remember when I stepped on the field in college, the dude that was in front of me tore his knee.
Mm.
So I was the guy that was replacing him. And when I stepped on the field, I did not step off.
So you were the Jahad Campbell in this situation, minus the shoulder.
I got his name was Tim Lester. He ended up playing a lot of years for the Steelers. He ended up being he was a tailback.
Mm.
He got hurt, and then when he rehabbed, they put him at fullback when he came back. Because I was playing so well, they couldn't take me off the field. So they put him back at fullback. And then he ended up playing 8-10 years for the Steelers. They called him the Buck.
I lost your audio, brother.
There we go.
Yeah.
It turned off by itself. I don't know what happened. But the mindset is day by day.
Right.
And then you get to a point, you want to start seeing your body respond and recover, because the mental part of it is the muscle memory knows what it used to be able to do.
Mhm.
Now you got that mental wall. When you think you're healthy or you think you get to a certain point, at some point in time, you got to go full speed. Now the mentals come into place. Can your mind tell your body that yes, you can go full speed and make a 90-degree cut, or stop and backpedal, or backpedal, stop and change direction and come forward? Can you do that full speed
With confidence?
with confidence? And that is the biggest hurdle, because even when the body is ready, if the mind is holding you back until it does, until it doesn't. You just got to do it one time, and then when you finally do it, you still might be hesitant to do it again. You'll notice running backs before, and this has happened to me, you get a bad ankle sprain, then you get in the game because you feel like you 80-85%, which is good enough to play.
Right.
But can you plant that foot and cut on a dime and get north and south? Or are you trying to run around everybody? And it looks different. What you do on the field looks different. Can Nakobe Dean accelerate through the hole and fill the gap like he used to do?
Right.
And when he does fill the gap and he makes contact, is he going to be able to bring that power like he used to do? Stuff like that happens all the time. So it's one of those things where he's not going to know until he does it. He's not going to do it until he's on the field going full speed. So this is not something that you can do in practice. You got to be in a game situation going full speed. You got to take all of the band-aids off. You got to lose all the restraints, and you got to go full tilt.
Yeah, somebody got to test that. Somebody got to test your metal at the end of the day.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
you got to be ready for it. You know, again, man, like it's so unfortunate that Kobe got hurt when he did.
Yeah,
because him and Zach Bond.
Him and Bond were vibing.
Gave us two of the best linebacker performances as a tandem that we've ever seen.
Exactly.
Maybe since the Seth Joyner days or Jeremiah Trotter days, right? Like,
Yeah.
we haven't seen linebackers play that well together in a long time. And they made each other better. And I was looking at, I did a reaction video to Zach Bond's highlights, I think last week or something like that. And I was just looking at not just how he moves and how him and Nakobe Dean was working together, but I was also just paying attention to the key plays that were made on third downs, fourth downs, by the linebacker position in general.
Yeah.
And Nakobe and Zach Bond they were so, the plays they made were so timely. They were high impact players last season.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a mystery that defense played so well and those guys also played well. Like, I think those things go hand in hand. Like, I think at this point, the Eagles can no longer, Howie Roseman can no longer ignore the linebacker position. And I think I think it's clear he understands that with how he drafted this past draft class. I think he clearly understands now the value of a linebacker, because he used to try to shortchange that position quite often. And look, in 2024, let's be honest, that offseason, I mean, from a distance, you could probably say he tried to shortchange it again.
Yeah,
You can make a little argument for it because
absolutely.
we didn't know Zach Bond was going to do what he did. We didn't. Some people had their feelings about Nakobe Dean having a good season, right? But we still didn't know.
Right. And then before
We
then,
thought Devin Marcus was gonna be
TJ
the guy.
Edwards.
TJ Edwards, an undrafted guy that I thought we should have invested more into. And he's still one of the better linebackers playing at a very high level with the
Yep.
Chicago Bears. And he's weathered the storms over there. And now they have a pretty decent team personnel wise. Can they put it together? That's a different conversation. But TJ Edwards has been a good linebacker. And Nakobe Dean has been showed he could be a good linebacker. Zach Bond has been a phenomenal linebacker. You got this kid Jahai Campbell back there. And I think that's going to be really interesting to see. You got Jeremiah Trotter Jr. You got Smile
Yeah.
Mondon. And that leads me to another topic I want to get into with you. As we leapfrog over this Nakobe Dean topic, I think PFF, right? I want to say PFF, they did a ranking as far as like best position groups, right?
Right.
Throughout the NFL. And they ranked the Eagles running back unit, receiving unit, offensive line, D line, linebacker, and secondary, right? And just going right to the linebacker unit, the Eagles have, according to PFF, and the PFF again, they're not the end all be all, but people use them as an anchor or a reference point, right?
Right. Right.
And it says here the Philadelphia Eagles, according to PFF, have the number one linebacker unit in the NFL. Or is this the NFC? I'm not entirely sure how they specify this, but it just says unit rankings per PFF offseason ranks. And it says here that the Eagles have the number one linebacker unit. If NFC, NFL, how do you see that unit? Again, I gave you some names. When you look at that unit as a whole, do you think number one is justified for them?
For the Eagles, absolutely. Because this is a perfect example of look at how they performed. Look at how they performed in the regular season. Look at how they performed in the playoffs, and then look at how they performed in the ultimate game, in the Super Bowl. A plus across the board.
They got better,
especially when we look at last year, when we look at 2023, and how many issues we had with tackling, and just that was a hot mess.
Yeah.
And to go from worst to first, the way our defense did, that lets you know that we got the right people in. You got guys that are hungry, they're hungry. They don't just want something to eat.
Right.
They're really to work at it. Zach Bond finally got his opportunity, and I'll credit, some people will call it lucky. I'll say we did our homework. We got the guy that was a good character guy, was a hard worker, and was better than advertised.
He went to Wisconsin. He was drafted in the 3rd round, I believe. Like Zach, I understand Zach Bond. He spent the better part of his career on special teams for the Saints, right?
Yeah.
But when you really take a few steps back, you really just think about his football career in the macro. He was a phenomenal player in college.
Yeah.
Especially in his senior season. Like I'm looking at Zach Bond's production in his senior season in particular, and I see what we all know and some.
Yeah.
Or I see what we got basically in 2024, but just retooled a little bit. So at Wisconsin, I think he came off the edge more significantly. He was much more of a pass rusher, but he was able to affect the game still in other ways. Played in 14 games, 76 total tackles, 53 solo tackles, 20 TFLs, 12 and a half sacks, 1 interception, a pick, which was a pick six, 2 pass deflections, 2 forced fumbles. I mean, this is kind of on par with what we got. I mean, the sacks were obviously, he got 12 and a half in college. That's crazy. But still, when you think about it, Zach Bond wasn't a scrub, or he wasn't
No,
just some guy coming into the league. And again, the guy was drafted on day 2 of the NFL draft.
I'd be
You know,
curious.
he
I'd
was
be
just a
curious of
late bloomer, right?
who went ahead of him at his position.
Ooh, let's find out. The
Who went
20
ahead of him at his
NFL
position?
draft.
And to me, the more important question is, to your point, he wasn't a scrub. He had a great senior season, but and I guess this is the thing that like I personally want to figure out,
Mhm.
because this is what always puzzles me, because we have all the technology, we have all the communication, we got social media. There is no way when somebody puts that type of season in college together that people don't hear about it. But how come his name didn't have that recipe that made people go ooh and ah? Like why? Because if it had been another name at another school, he probably would have got it. And it happens every year that somebody gets all the hype and they're not as good as somebody else that went to a smaller school. A prime example for us is Jalix Hunt. How many people passed on Jalix Hunt?
Yeah.
Didn't think because he went to a small school, and you give all the excuses, but at the end of the day, when the kid put his hand in the dirt and the snap of the ball happened, he made things happen. Somebody had to see that. But there's always a reason why they don't either want to take the risk, or because there's more strikeouts when it comes to the draft from big colleges than it is from small ones.
I never gave that any kind of thought. There's more
So
strikeouts from bigger schools than small.
yeah,
I mean,
and that's
that's a numbers game though, because
exactly. I was just going to say that it is a numbers game, but I look at it like this. And here's what people used to tell me, and this is what we used to psych ourselves up with
Mm.
when you're trying to get into the pros and you come from a small school. I'm coming from Eastern Kentucky. I done broke every rushing record, 6.7 yards a carry. I did as much as I could possibly do, right? The 100 yards in Richmond, Kentucky is the same 100 yards that I ran on in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So the 40-yard dash is the same 40-yard dash as whether you run it at your college. The tackles he got, all of the stuff that he did that let you know he was a good player. And you go to somewhere else and people will do much less. And it goes back to, it's a lot of times it's not about talent. It's about where you are, where you come from, who you know. Because even with all of this, even with the avalanche of information that we have,
Mhm.
you still got a lot of people that really don't do homework. They want to go off of name recognition and all of that other kind of stuff. And that's just part of the game. So I say all that to say I am so very glad that guys like Zach Bond, guys like Reed Blankenship, got an opportunity to show what they can do. And it doesn't matter what school you come from. What matters is, did you pick up the offense? Did you pick up the defense? And when you got your opportunity, did you know what you were supposed to do? Did you know where you were supposed to be? And did you make the play when you had to make the play? We got those guys that can do that. And a lot of guys can't make that happen. A lot of guys that teams are stuck with because
Mhm.
they drafted them in the first 2 days and paying them all of that money, they can't get rid of them. And they realize very quickly they might not be up to snuff, but they stuck with them. And what you hope is that your draft pick turns out to at least be average.
Exactly. Exactly. And
So
and again, like Zach Bond, he went to Wisconsin. They have a pretty good history at that linebacker position. You know, TJ Edwards went to Wisconsin.
absolutely.
Um, TJ Watt went to Wisconsin. Who else we got here?
So the school's got legacy.
Yeah, for sure, especially at his position in particular. So, you know, um, Zach Bond, he just needed coaching matters. Zach Bond is a prime candidate of coaching matters. Situations matter, and sometimes teams don't really know what they have, because they haven't considered using a guy in a position that they probably wouldn't think to use him in, because
Right.
they don't think he can do it. Um, but the 2024 season for the Eagles, at least, is littered with situations where the Eagles decided to make unorthodox decision
Yeah.
to either fill a position or maximize a player's value. Zach Bond is one of them, right? Because he was an edge rusher, pass rusher. That was kind of what he did, at least on this level. And he's played special teams a lot. Vic Fangio gets a
He
hold
would
of
have
him.
easily been the defensive MVP if it wasn't for Jalen Carter.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Definitely, without question. Vic Fangio gets a hold of him, and he's like, "Hey, I think we should probably try this guy at linebacker. See what we see. We know what he can do. Let's try to see if we can, let's see if we can stress the integrity of that skill set. Let's put him through a stress test. Let's just hit him with everything and see what he retains." And that was kind of his Vic Fangio's theme coming into the offseason last year.
Yeah.
Other people who benefited from the Eagles approaching them with an unorthodox approach. Mekhi Becton, right?
Yes.
Tackle, offensive tackle, transitions to interior offensive lineman. I mean, a guy that size shouldn't be able to get that low. You know what I'm saying? And he was just a behemoth, and Stout and Sirianni got together. It was like, hey, let's.
To me, that was incredible, man.
That was, and we would have never known if Steen didn't get hurt.
A tackle his size to move to guard and to excel at guard, to me, that was phenomenal.
Yeah, if Steen doesn't get hurt, we don't find that out.
Yep.
We don't find that out.
Now, again, the question is, how can we figure that out? How come the Jets couldn't figure that out? Because the Jets paid them all the money.
Because what happens is, you want to know why, in my opinion? And I'm sure you know this. I don't think I'm saying anything profound or new, but there's a lot of ego in the NFL.
Absolutely.
And some people think the ego just exists within the player. It's not.
Yeah.
The ego is very much so in those front offices. The ego is very much so in those, in those coaching ranks. And sometimes, and again, I don't know if this was the situation. I'm just making my own educated guess here. Sometimes the person that drafted you, or even coaches, their ego is so wrapped up in your success and where they drafted you and what they drafted you to be. They feel almost compelled, even at the expense of others and themselves. They feel compelled to make it work with you at the position they drafted you to play at.
They can't adjust.
Exactly. And to put it simply, they can't adjust, or they refuse to adjust because their ego is so wrapped up in your success at this particular role because they drafted you to be this.
Right.
And
we paying you. We're not paying you this much money to do this. We paying you to do this. So you got to find a way to do this. And it's like, and I say it all the time. You got to know your personnel. Know your personnel and know your personalities. And sometimes they don't line up. And sometimes you got to fit the right personality in the right place. And that is very, very difficult. Who thought that Landon Dickerson would come out as such a leader the way he did last year? I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily see it coming either.
But it clearly had to always be there. But almost to the same situation we was talking about with Zach Bond.
Yeah.
He was behind Jason Kelce, a Hall of Famer. You behind some players where maybe your voice is not so loud until they get out of the room.
Or it's just not needed from you right now.
Exactly.
You read my mind. Landon Dickerson, to your point, he inherited a hell of a situation in terms of just leadership. Jason Kelce, Lane Johnson, right? BG being on the opposite side. Fletcher Cox being on the opposite side, right? He walked into a situation where he didn't have to be that person.
Right.
At least yet, right? But I think what's more impressive is when you are, or when you do have the opportunity to be that person. When you now have the space and opportunity to be that person, do you step up, right?
Can you step up?
Or can you step up, right? And there was a few people who stepped up. And I love the way this conversation is progressing, by the way, because we're starting to get deeper into, obviously, not just the play on the field. Because in order to be a leader, you got to be, people got to respect your performance as well. But
people got to want to listen to you.
Yeah, in order for people to listen, you got to put the numbers on the board. You feel what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But we're getting to a point of conversation now where we're starting to really peel back the layers on like, okay, these guys ha- had to be self-accountable and put themselves in positions to be uncomfortable, um, to be comfortable and elevate their games, elevate their prowess to their leadership to a whole new level, right? There's a few people this past season who I think took huge leaps forward, especially in the leadership department. Landon Dickerson is one of them. Um, I would say Jordan Mailata took a step forward in his leadership. I think Jordan Mailata has really um, stepped into his role as a leader. He's speaking with more confidence at the position he plays.
Right.
He's talking like he's talking like an all pro. He's talking like a pro bowler. You get what I'm saying? Like Mailata is talking like the best left tackle in football. You know, he walks around with a big stick. You know what I mean? Like
Absolutely.
that's who that's who he's
Yeah.
portraying
And
himself
the
to be
one thing
thus far.
about Jordan, man, I've met Jordan before. I've met Jordan, like talk with him a little bit.
Mm,
This was this has got to be like 8 years ago now, or however long he been in the league. He had just got over here. He did Vi's Luau. Vi had a fundraiser that I was at, and man, Jordan got up there, had his little guitar, and was singing and was blowing everybody away, man. But he is genuine. Like there's nothing fake about him.
the genuine
But
article, yeah.
but that's also that's from his culture where he's from. Like it is like the Polynesians and Samoans and that culture. That's what it is. What it is, and they
Cultural
don't front.
warriors, yeah.
And
Yeah.
he brings that over here. Knows his place, knows when to speak up, knows when to be silent, but always giving you 100% because that's all they know, man. And
Yeah.
that type of stuff translates because we've all seen the opposite of that over here in the States. We in the social media and one culture, and you get a lot of people that they talk a big game and it doesn't always add up to what you see on the field. Lift like Tarzan, play like Jane. So um, it's good to see that we have got a situation right now with what Jeffrey Lurie has allowed Howie Roseman to do.
Mhm.
It can't be understated how much Jeffrey Lurie has been a hands off. I trust you.
That's so hard to do when you're in.
He's got how many owners? Somebody had just said this in the chat. How many owners? Carlos said it. How many owners actually have learned their lesson? How many GMs have actually learned their lesson and are better for it and are clearly making moves because of past mistakes to our benefit, to the organization's benefit?
Right.
And that kind of lends back to what you said earlier about the ego, because a lot of people don't want to do that. They
Mhm.
still convinced that their way works. Well,
Right.
your way might work, but you still got to adjust some things and change some things along the way. And a lot of people aren't willing to do that. It's all or nothing. And it's like that way don't work no more because there's not a one size fits all athlete anymore. You can't do that. You got people that might be the size of Ndamukong Suh, but could probably play linebacker or free safety. You get the athletes are freakish right now, so things can. Jahad Campbell, we can put him anywhere on the field. You could probably put him at free safety or at linebacker or at defensive end. You could do a lot of things with that. And heck, even 10, 15 years ago, you didn't see a lot of that. You
Mm.
started getting into the hybrids about roughly around 15 years ago.
Yeah, it's these. I think the OGs call them tweeners, right? These
Yes.
guys, these people who maybe they're maybe they're a little undersized at the
Yeah.
linebacker position, but they're athletic enough where they can kind of slice through, and they can also drop back in coverage.
Right.
You know, like we're in a very fun space right now in football where I feel like coordinators and coaches, I feel like now there's no reason for guys to not be able to figure it out with these players because you have these guys have a bevy of skill sets that allows you to be creative,
Yeah.
right? And I feel like the best DCs are the ones, and, you know, and we're just strictly talking defense right now, but the best DCs are the ones who are able to make it work with what they have, right? Or just find unique ways to deploy your talent, right? Because let's say, perfect example, let's get into this, right? Since we were talking about linebackers and the position battle between Nakobe and Jahai Campbell, how they're both recovering from the injuries, right? They both play the same position essentially. And some people have had the conversation who's going to beat out who, blah, 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 right?
Right.
And fair question, fair conversation to have. But let's take it a step further and let's think outside the box here. And I'm sure a lot of Eagles fans like you guys have already done this. I'm sure Vic Fangio is behind the scenes trying to figure out a way to get both of them on the field at the same time.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, see, can you deploy the most effective, the most talented roster you can while still maintaining the integrity of your scheme?
Yeah.
And Vic Fangio is somebody who strikes me as the kind of guy who knows how to do that very, very well and will find a way to get the best players on the field at any given time. We may see a situation where, hey, you know what? Jahad, Nakobe, I need you both on the field. Nakobe, I want you to play the role you played before. Jahad, we're gonna rush you off the edge on this play.
Jahad gonna be the Joker. You can move him
Exactly.
anywhere. And back in the day, it used to be, oh man, we're gonna have to figure out where we're gonna play you. Like, play him everywhere. You know, a good example of this. I'm reaching back a little bit, but my man, Jason Dunn. You seen Jason Dunn on my podcast. Jason played 4 years with the Eagles, and then he played 8 more years with Kansas City.
Right.
But when me and Jason, I was a senior when Jason was a freshman.
Okay.
So Jason, I believe Jason was Mr. Kentucky football. Jason was everything coming out of high school. He was already like 6'3", fast as I don't know what, but he was like maybe 205. He hadn't filled out yet.
Yeah.
And they played him at defensive end. Now, how did he go from defensive end to tight end, playing 12 years in the league at tight end? And they finally switched him. And I believe it was the second or third year in college, but he still could have played tight end and defensive, and they could have played him both ways. How come more people? There's always a hesitation to do that. Not so much now. You look at Travis Hunter.
I still think there's a hesitation to do it, even with him.
I agree. And it's like, look at what's his name? For the Cowboys. What's the special teamer for the Cowboys?
Oh, you're talking about Kevontae Turpin?
Kevontae Turpin. I was a fan of Kevontae Turpin because I watched what he did in the XFL. And he was the MVP of the XFL.
Wow.
But the Cowboys was like, we'll give him a shot. Like, he's doing stuff that the guys you got on your team and you paying a lot of money can't do.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the hesitation?
And he's made an all-pro as special teamer as well.
Correct. And it's only now, this will be his third or fourth year, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
It's only now until they realize and like, yo, put this kid on the field wherever and figure out a way to get him the ball. And you see what happens.
You know, it's funny you say that because that seems like a no-brainer, right?
It seems like it.
But clearly, these people who get paid millions to make these decisions, sometimes we ask ourselves, are they even qualified? Because you look at these coaches, and sometimes let me ask you this. Let me just come right out and say it because I'm kind of tiptoeing around it a little bit. Do you think sometimes the reason why we don't get I believe that I feel like more coaches ruin players than players that ruin themselves.
Yes.
That's what I think. Right? And do you think coaches, some, not all, do you think some coaches just lack the commitment to a player's development? Do you think they're too focused on self-preservation? Do you think that coaches have gotten, I don't know if lazier is the word, or it just seems like, or it's not lazier, but just why do you think coaches truly struggle to try to maximize a guy's skill set and just and overthink the situation?
There's a lot of different reasons. Um, it can go back to it's not what you know, it's who you know. It can go back to I just don't like you. Um,
Mm.
uh, sometimes sometimes it can get into the isms and the ists. Um, because you're dealing with people and people
And
are
that
quirky.
and that's the part where I feel like sometimes, not all, but sometimes people some people can like forget that this is not a video game. You're dealing with people.
Exactly.
And
How many times have
and
you been in a
people are
situation?
flawed.
How many times have you been in a situation you're like, I don't really care for them. I don't like them. Why? And you can't give a reason.
Mhm.
I don't know. I just don't like 'em. Have you talked to them? Not really. I don't say nothing. I don't say nothing to them. They don't say nothing to me. So how you know you don't like them? I don't know. I just the vibe ain't there. Okay, explain it. I can't. I just don't like them. That happens at the pro level too. There there are so many good football players that get cut. Good baseball players, hockey
Mhm.
players, basketball players across the board, whatever sport that get cut because them and the coach don't get along. And there might be a lesser talented player, and for whatever reason, them and that coach vibe, that guy will make the team at a detriment
Mm.
to the overall to the macro. That happens all the time. And you like, dude, I don't know. It's like some people think it's a cop out. I don't. The coaches just didn't like me. Um, I don't know. That's real. That is real. Well, somebody comes in. There's always a guy in camp that comes in that can do no wrong. Even when they make mistakes, they can do no wrong. But for whatever reason, the coaches like them, or
Mhm.
that happens all the time.
Okay.
So the human element is big, and people don't want to give it enough credit because are we at the professional level? They don't do that. The hell they don't. Tony, you
More
know,
money, more problems
I've said this a million times. There are plenty of people in the NFL that shouldn't be, and there are a bunch of people that should who aren't,
because of who they know.
and it's a shame.
And it's the you said it. It's not what you know, it's who you know, man. Like, and that's the crux of life, right? You know, it's a lot of people in positions that they probably either have earned or really not qualified to do, but they're there because of a relationship. You know, they network well, and that's not taking nothing away from them because maybe they do the job competently, maybe they're good at the job, but maybe there's somebody who was more qualified or more talented at the time, and
Right.
and they didn't have to grow into the position. They were ready to
He-
do the position,
Here's a
but
perfect example. Here's a
yeah,
perfect example.
what's that?
Jimmy Smith played for the Jaguars.
Mm.
Jimmy Smith, Smitty. We were rookies together with the Eagles. The Eagles cut him. The Eagles cut him.
That's crazy.
Then he was,
Whoa, I'm looking at this production. What?
bruh. We were in camp together in '93 with the Eagles, and the Eagles cut him.
Yo, this dude is good. Let's go.
Why?
Whoa.
Stuck, and then he finally got on with Jacksonville,
Yeah.
and you see
He
what happened,
he was out of the NFL in 94.
bruh. Why?
That's crazy. I know it says here he was dealing with appendicitis and appendicitis complications in 93, but 95 on, he
He
was
was he was fire.
well, 95 he came back to the league, but 96 on is when he came out like, you know, two-time second team all pro,
Yep.
five-time pro bowler. This
Smitty was
dude,
real, man. He was for real.
no, yeah. I'm looking at this production here. 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns, 1,300 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns, 1,600 yards, 6 touchdowns, 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns. I mean, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 consecutive seasons going over 1,000 yards. And he had a one down year because he got hurt when he played 12 games, but
Right.
still got 805 yards in 12 games and 4 touchdowns. Then he came back and 2004 over 1,100 yards, 6 touchdowns, and in 2005 his final season over 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns. He was when he retired, he was still
now let me say
one of the
this.
more productive guys in the league.
Smitty had a good camp. He had a good camp in 93. I was there. So my point is, how did they miss on him? Why did they miss on him? Did he get lost in the sauce? There were other people there. We had drafted Victor Bailey out of Missouri. He was a second round pick that year. And I believe they got Smitty. I believe he was a free agent that year.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get your opportunities on the field, he was catching balls. He was making it happen. What did they miss? What did Jacksonville see that Philadelphia couldn't? So those are the things that I always question. And it's like maybe just somebody didn't like him, or like, because it makes no sense. You saw what you saw.
Yeah.
And you still made that decision. And it's like, really?
Yeah. And sometimes, and I'm not saying this was the situation, but sometimes there's also situations where we got too many good players and we can't keep everybody.
That was Zach Bond down. Somebody in the chat was acting like,
New Orleans.
what happened to Zach Bond in New Orleans? He got lost in the sauce. He
had a lot of
contracts in front of him.
Let me just look at real quick since we're there, because I think people underestimate the situation he was in. He was in a situation.
And fans have to understand the business part of it too. If you got 2 big contracts and they are not playing bad, they're not going to take them off the field.
Exactly.
You paying them all of this money and they're having a good season. They might not go to the Pro Bowl, but they're productive. They're making things happen. And it's not a detriment to your offense, to your defense. So you're going to keep them on the field unless somebody comes in and just blows everybody out of the water for some reason. So that's why, maybe Zach Bond got kind of lost in the sauce down there and ended up being a special teamer.
Listen,
it happens.
I'm looking at their linebackers right now. I'm looking at their depth chart from 2003, right? I'm sorry, 2023. At linebacker, Demario Davis.
Yep. Solid.
Pete Werner. And on the edges, they had Cameron Jordan and Carl Granderson. He wasn't getting in front of those guys.
No. Especially not Granderson.
He wasn't getting in front of those guys.
Even though I got a special affinity for Granderson because Jalen Hurts broke his ankles in that game, and that's what made Jalen Hurts QB1 in Philadelphia. I'll never forget that play.
You funny as hell.
That cutback that Jalen did, and you heard the audible gasp from the crowd.
Yeah, that's in my personal opinion, I think that's a top 10 Jalen Hurts highlight.
Yeah, that is the play where people were convinced that Jalen Hurts was that dude.
Yeah, I'm also looking at the depth chart from when he actually got drafted. Zach Bond. Zach Bond. I'm looking at the Saints 2020 depth chart right now from because he got drafted in 2020. I'm looking here at their linebackers and edge guys. Listen, they had Cam Jordan on the edge, Trey Hendrickson on the edge.
Hello.
Caden Ellis at strong side linebacker, Alex Anzalone at middle, and Demario Davis at weak side.
They had a good lineup, and he wasn't cracking it.
Zach Bond wasn't going to crack that, especially as a rookie, for one. And
coaching matters and location matters.
Coaching, location, and the guys in front of you, man,
and timing.
And we got Zach Bond at the perfect time. Like everything came together the way it was supposed to. We got the perfect DC to develop players, and we happened to bring in Zach Bond, somebody he could develop who clearly had talent but was just lost in the sauce. Everybody can't play. And when you're paying guys a lot of money, and if they're good enough, you're not going to spend time trying to develop you're not going to spend time trying to figure it out with somebody who drafted in the 3rd round where you got guys who clearly can play, who clearly are productive, and you're paying them a lot of money. You're not going to waste time doing that.
Yeah. The offseason is so chaotic these days. It's
real quick, especially when you're a DC and every year your job is on the line.
and plus the turnover. The turnover
It-
of players is ridiculous now.
There's
The
too much turnover.
days of you see the same players on the field for 6 and 7 years. Those days are done. Those days have been done. This is a free agent market. Everybody trying to get paid. So that's why there's so much pressure on GMs to assemble the right
And
group of people.
and
And
that's
even if
why
they do get the
GMs
right group of people, if you ain't got the right coach, it don't matter.
exactly like Ryan Poles, Chicago Bears just got extended, right?
Yep.
But a lot of people were looking at him a little funny a few years ago because people were like, "Hold on, wait, you passed on Jalen Carter, right?" And when you have coaches, when you have GMs who the moment they get the job, the clock is ticking. It's hard and it's not an easy thing to overcome. And I
Yeah, because
understand that
everybody
and I
wants
receive that, but it's not
instant results.
yeah, it's not easy to overcome the feeling of self-preservation. You're like a lot of decisions in the NFL can be attributed to self-preservation. I got to keep
Absolutely.
my job. I got to make the safe decision. And most of the time, in trying to lead with self-preservation and trying to make the right decision that your owner would want you to make, or you think your owner wants you to make, you get fired anyway.
Yeah.
So my thing is, why not go out on your sword? If you already know if things go wrong, or if you do what they tell you to do and things go wrong, you're gonna lose your job. Why not? Why not go out doing it the way you know you should do it, rather
If
than doing it the way they want you should do or wanting
if
you to do it? You know what I
if
mean?
they gonna get me, I'm gonna make it worth my while.
Exactly. If they
They
going
gonna get me anyway, so I might as well do it my way.
yeah, if I'm gonna go out, if I'm gonna go, I'm going out my way. I'm not going out sad. I'm not going out, doing about a book. If I'm gonna lose my job, I'm gonna lose my job. Maximizing everything that I know about this game and putting it on the football field. You get what I'm saying? So,
Absolutely.
so when I look at the Saints and Zach Bond and how he got lost in the sauce, matter of fact, the DC at the time was Dennis Allen, who eventually became the head coach, right? Um, But I'm sure when Sean Payton left and all that kind of stuff, I'm sure Dennis Allen was like, "Ooh, can I get this job?" Am I like, And the bottom line is, the Saints haven't consistently been good for a while now. Why would they waste time trying to figure it out with Zach Bond when you got
Exactly.
guys on the field? You want the guy you want to put the guys on the field that's going to help you keep your job,
You in a rush.
not put you at risk of losing it.
You in a rush.
You in a rush.
You ain't got time to develop.
Yeah. Yeah. So
So
Zach Ball, man, Nakobe Dean landed in places that fortunately had the coaches and the front office that get that that length of leash from ownership, right?
yeah,
How Jeffrey Lurie has cultivated an environment where Howie Roseman can afford to make mistakes and be given the opportunity to overcome them. It's a lot of decisions Howie Roseman made that if he wasn't given a chance to see that through, it would look totally different.
right.
You know what I mean? Trading away the quarterback you just gave record money to and Carson Wentz, that's a fireable offense if the following season you don't make it work.
Correct.
It's a fireable
Correct.
offense.
Same situation with Sirianni. Same situation.
Yeah.
Let's hit some of these super chats real quick. We got two of
Yes.
them. One
Yes,
from
for
Alex,
sure.
one from Carlos. They both got everything to do with the defense.
Awesome. Let's
So
do it.
Alex says, "You guys think Nakobe is getting signed before training camp next week?" I think he will, especially with Trey Harris from the Chargers already holding out yesterday, and 28 other second round picks not signed yet. They'll get the deal done.
Yeah.
This is to me. This is just the way they do business nowadays. Ain't
But
nothing
also,
you can't avoid it.
but also, there's stories we're hearing a lot about, the stories we aren't. And Trey Harris is something I know we were talking about that. I just saw that recently. He's holding out. Like there's some players who make a spectacle of it.
Yeah,
Like Shamar Stewart, like Trey Harris. And I'm not saying that they're not justified in trying to get what they think they
right.
deserve from these. I'm not saying that part, but certain players, certain situations become a spectacle. Some situations don't, and I think what keeps certain situations from becoming a spectacle versus ones that do become a spectacle is the people who are involved in the decision making.
Right.
And the people who are involved in the deal making, right? The fact that we haven't heard anything noteworthy from Andrew Makuba's situation regarding his contract speaks volumes about where they are in the
Yeah.
conversation.
Because if they were unhappy, they'd be chirping.
Yeah, and agents, listen, for some reason there is a little bit of a wave right now. Let's not overcomplicate this. But players are more in tune with the business now.
Yeah.
They're
Fact.
more in tune with the business. They're more informed, and now you drafting kids that are coming up in the nil era. So they making money.
Yeah.
They understand deal making. They understand negotiations. They understand contracts more. They're represented by people who understand contracts more. And these players are putting themselves ahead of the business, and I understand that. I understand it. I can't get mad at Shamar Stewart, can't get mad at your Harris, can't get mad at any of these other guys who want to make sure the contracts are fair and they're compensated properly, especially with guaranteed money, man. These kids understand the game now. You can't play around
Absolutely.
with it. You can't.
Absolutely. You got to keep it real and come with it.
Yeah.
So thanks for that, Alex. $9
Thank you, Alex. I
or
appreciate it,
$10
man.
super chat. And then
Good
Carlos
topic.
says, salute, gentlemen. Think about this. Do you know how many different combinations we can use on that D line? Can't wait till the season starts. I'm with you on that one,
That's a
Carlos.
good point because to Carlos's point, the Eagles, their defensive line was ranked second according to PFF. And as far as the NFC goes, the Eagles defensive line was considered to be the best position group in the NFC in comparison to other defensive lines in the NFC. So in the NFC, the Eagles have the best defensive line according to them, and the second best in the NFL.
I agree.
Which is interesting to me because I think about it and I'm like, they typically reserve stuff like that for I guess the Eagles D line, they're so young. And part of me appreciates obviously the respect and the reverence they're getting, but part of me is like, damn, I feel like there's so much food left on the table for these guys. Like,
Absolutely. They as good as they played last year, they still got another level.
yeah,
They still got another level because now you got some
they're
new
calling
players.
number one. I'm like, I feel like we ain't seen the best of them yet.
Yeah, because you still got a lot of young players. And here's the good thing: we got a lot of young players that sat behind veterans last year, so they absorbed a lot, and they itching to play. Keely Ringo was itching to play.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Trot Jr. is itching to play. So I think, and it seems like that Vic Fangio has a good touch on letting these guys know this is what is expected of you. If you don't meet that standard, you will not play. Period.
Yeah.
That way there is no misunderstanding.
Yeah, he told Bryce Huff, yo, we need you to tackle. We need you to defend the run and set the edge. We need you to be able to drop back in coverage on occasion.
He got promoted to 49er.
We need you to be able to, at the bare minimum, beat tight ends. Some guys can't meet expectations.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
It's all good.
It's all good, man. You move on. But again, I think this defensive line, there's so much there that I feel like it's going to be really exciting to see as it develops. Like, I'm so excited about Jalix Hunt.
Yeah, I'm ready to see everybody just let loose.
Yeah, I want to see what the next step for Jalix Hunt looks like, my brother. I really do.
Yeah. I think we had the right group of people, the right group of veterans, with BG coming back the way he did, what Nolan Smith did, Landon Dickerson, just the new crop of Eagle leaders has emerged. And there is no question who they are. So you gotta, coming into camp, you have a clear understanding of who's leading the who's leading the charge.
Yeah.
So I like it. I'm excited for this season. I'm ready to run it back. I don't, as of, I know it's early,
Yep.
but everybody's facing in the right direction already.
Exactly.
They understand the expectations in this city, and I think they're ready to meet it. So I don't see any reason, barring injury, we shouldn't be in the playoffs.
Oh yeah,
Again.
for
So,
sure. And they've proven that, hey, we don't need the number 1 seed to get it done.
Facts.
That's one thing that doesn't get talked about enough. As we start to close the show, they won the Super Bowl not only by having to face teams that they faced already, which is difficult because they got the book on you now, but 4 straight games through the wild card, divisional, conference, Super Bowl. I mean, that's not easy. That number one seed is so valuable. It's not easy. It's not easy trying to get it done from the wild card space. It's not easy.
Right.
It's not easy, man. But I'm with you, man. I think they're all pulling in the right direction.
We good to go, man. We ready to rock and roll, man. Let's just
Go.
I'm ready to flick that switch, bro.
Likewise, man. Likewise. Listen, y'all, smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, man. We really do appreciate the love and the support. You guys have been phenomenal today. A hell of a turnout. You guys have just been super active, super supportive, man. We're back. We're back at it. I took a little bit of a week off, man. Had to unplug a little bit. Had a busy week for myself, but we're back at it, man. More content. Y'all, training camp is around the corner, and I'm excited, you guys. We're trying to run it back. We're trying to do something special here. We're trying to establish a dynasty, and we're trying to keep our foot on their damn necks. You feel me, Marcus?
Your foot on their neck and your eye on your luggage.
Hey, I love it, man. Any final words, big dog?
Hey, let's get it. Another day closer to camp, man. Let's get it popping.
Hey, listen, man. Y'all know the vibes, man. It's Fly Eagles Fly. Marcus, play that song, man.
We out. Go Birds.
In the city of Philly, where the birds take flight, Eagle swag on the rise each and every night. Tone and Markus got the scoop ready to ignite. From the lanes of South Street to the Broad Street lights, dashing like a running back, hitting every play. Flying guys in the zone, never led astray. Talking touchdowns, talking game day. Huddle around the mic, hear what they gotta say. Fly like an eagle soaring in the sky. Tone and Markus always standing by, bringing the heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, hear the battle cry. Fly like an eagle soaring in the sky. Tone and Markus always standing by, bringing the heat, call it do or die.